Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing amazing and that you are feeling great today. As you all know that on this channel I share some excerpts from the books that I've read, and the book that we are going to talk about today is really close to my heart, and I feel that sharing this would be sharing something so personal to me. The book that we are talking about today is Thousand Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini. And I remember completing this book at night and crying myself to sleep. And the next morning, I wake up and I'm filled with all these emotions in my heart. And I felt like I couldn't contain them. And I remember calling a loved one and reciting them the whole story, the plot, the characters, what I thought about it, what I thought about that, and I remember crying out loud in front of them, and I think they recorded it as well, and I found it really silly, but yeah, I think that's the power of writing, and that's a success for a writer when a reader connects with you so much that they are left with no option but to ponder over things that you've written, and I feel this connect between a reader and a writer is really necessary for a book to be really successful. And I think that A Thousand Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini is his heartfelt tribute to the women in Afghanistan, to the resilience they hold. In fact, women anywhere out there in the world, how resilient, how powerful they are. Before reading the excerpts of the book, I'd like to share the theme, the plot line, and a brief overview of the story with you all. So the story, it's set in Afghanistan, the warriors, and then the coming of Taliban, and the years after that. And the story revolves around these two characters, these two protagonists. One is Mariam and another one is Lela. And if I were to describe these two characters to you, I tell you that these two characters are poles apart. The way they identify with themselves, the way they identify themselves with the society, the way they think, the way they are, it's very poles apart. The way they have been brought up, the things that they've been told are very stark opposite of one another. And this and this book is divided into four parts. The first part talks about Mariam, second part talks about Lela, the third part is the third part shows how the lives of these two girls, it intersects, and how it transforms both of them forever, how their personalities just evolve, and how each one of them has something to teach to the another, and how uh, this leads to a profound friendship, and I'd say a love that is of a mother and daughter between two of these characters, and how this unconditional love for each other makes them do something that they wouldn't have thought in 1,000 years they'd do. And A Thousand Splendid Suns, I'd say, is a splendid read for sure. And the last part is, I'd say, the concluding part, which talks about how the story moves on further. But I think the third part is the most important part. Like every part is having its own significance, but the part that holds the most significance for me as a human being, I think it would be the third part. And let me just tell you a little bit about these characters, right? So Mariam, she is this harami, this illegitimate child in Afghanistan in those years, and she is very meek. She is told that she is not needed anywhere. I mean, she is a weed, or she is very unwanted, and in fact she herself felt within herself that, maybe I'm not needed. I mean, she felt apologetic about her own existence in the world. And then there is Lela is this confident girl in Afghanistan. Her father is this amazing man who supports her so much, and I remember he tells her that, Lela, marriage is fine, loving someone is fine, but education is the most important thing, because your country Afghanistan is gonna need you, and it's gonna need women like you the most, and after the war, and a society where women do not contribute. I think it's a regressive society, and you, my love, will be needed. And I want you to be educated, I want you to learn new things. And so this Layla is this empowered character with a loving father, with a lover who really adores her, and she feels really good about herself. I mean, before coming of Taliban, I'm talking about it. So on one hand, you're gonna see Layla, who is all empowered, very confident, feels really good about herself, and has abundance of love in her life. She was always deprived of the love of a mother, though. And then there is Mariam, who always felt unwanted, who felt like she's not needed anywhere, and she was always deprived of love of her father, and love of men in her life, and that's exactly what she's going to seek ahead in her marriage with Rashid. And Rashid is this elderly man who is thrice the age of Mariam, and he is, I mean, he actually, I think, symbolizes the patriarchal, egoistic men at that time. If you read about him, I mean, actually there is a place of not liking him in my heart, but more than that, I think I'd feel pity for him, because he too was a victim of that mentality. It is like social conditioning, the way he was brought up, the way his father was brought up, or the way his father was brought up. I think it's all social conditioning, and the men that he became was a result of it. I mean, I genuinely disliked his character, but I more than that, I think I pity him, and I pity the human being that he was. But yeah, talking about, coming back to Mariam and Layla. So Mariam is gonna seek that love in that marriage, and she's not gonna get that. But when the story of these two girls intersects, that's when it's like completing each other. It's like giving one another the things that they never had in their lives, and just making each other feel like, yes, I am there for you, and you are here for me. And that's exactly in the third part of the book. They share this amazing bond, the journey that they have to go through to reach that point, and that's going to be interesting. I read for you all, I believe. And then there is this love story of Layla and her lover, which is Tariq, in the book, which unfolds at the end. And I loved it. I think it was really genuine and really melted my heart. Tariq is an amazing boy, and I know that you love reading about him. One character that really astonished me, and the character that I kept thinking about throughout this whole book, and even after that, was Mariam. Her character, I tell you, is really astonishing, because first, when I read about the character, I genuinely pitied the girl. I really felt bad about the way she was going through life, and the conceptions that she had about her own self. And it isn't that she was born that way. It was purely because of the environment, because of the people around her, that made her feel really unwanted. And slowly and gradually, she, started believing that about herself, and I pitied her. And then there was this part of marriage of her and Rashid. I genuinely felt so bad for the character. But when then there is this third part, where you'd see another her, where you see the abundance of love that she never got, she carried within herself, and to protect the ones that she thought she genuinely loved, and they loved her back as well. What she does is unimaginable, and the person that grows out of that meek little girl is admirable. It's amazing. That is all about Thousand Splendid Suns. Its plot, its theme, and its story. I think I overshared a little. I love this book. It's a really important part of, I think, my own self now that I've read it, now that I know it. And I mean, I don't think that way. I generally don't think that way. Ki, oh, you know what? If you haven't read that, you're missing out on something. Because I think life has a way of unfolding for people, and we do learn different things, maybe either by reading or experiencing it ourselves. But when I say that you may be missing out little if you haven't read this book, please believe me, and please do give it a shot, because this is something that will melt your heart, that will break your heart, but it'll also fill your heart with such pride. As I said, A Thousand Splendid Suns is indeed a splendid read. So I think you guys should give it a shot. And the best part about Khaled Hosseini, because I've read The Kite Runner as well. So the best part about Khaled Hosseini as a writer is that he is able to connect with his audience very well, very well. And the way he writes the most heart-wrenching things with such simplicity, with such subtleness, that you'd be shocked for a while, that like, whoa, what did I read? And it'll break your heart, but somewhere there'd be a glimmer, a shimmer of hope, that you just continue reading the book knowing that something amazing and great is about to happen. And oh, I love this book. Please do give it a read. I'm not promoting it in any way or something, but I know if you'll read it, you'll get something out of it. And so let's go on, let's not waste much of our time, and let's read some excerpts from this book. Nana said, learn this now and learn it well, my daughter. Like a compass needle that points north, a man's accusing finger always finds women. Always. You remember that, Mariam. A man's heart is a wretched, wretched thing, Mariam. It isn't like a mother's womb. It won't bleed. It won't stretch to make a room for you. I'm the only one who loves you. I'm all that you have in this world, Mariam. And when I'm gone, you'll have nothing. You'll have nothing, and you are nothing. The excerpt that I'm gonna read right now is to give you a glimpse of what Rashid was like. His powerful hands clasped her jaw. He shoved 2 fingers into her mouth and pried it open, then forced the cold, hard pebbles into it. Mariam struggled against him, mumbling, but he kept pushing the pebbles in. His upper lip curled in a sneer. Now chew, he said. Through the mouthful of grit and pebbles, Mariam mumbled a plea. Tears were leaking out of the corners of her eyes. Chew, he bellowed. A gust of his smoky breath slammed against her face. Mariam chewed. Something in the back of her mouth cracked. Good, Rashid said. Mariam lay on the couch, hands tucked between her knees, watched the whirlpool of snow twisting and spindling outside of the window. She remembered Nana saying once that each snowflake was a sigh heaved by an aggrieved woman somewhere in the world, that all the sighs drifted up the sky, gathered into clouds, then broke into tiny pieces that fell silently on the people below, as a reminder of how women like us suffer, she'd say. How quietly we endure all that falls upon us. The excerpt that I'm reading now is the beginning of the third phase that I told you about. The years had not been kind to Mariam, but perhaps she thought there were kinder years waiting still. A new life, a life in which she would find the blessings that Nana said a harami like her would never see. 2 new flowers had unexpectedly sprouted in her life, and as Mariam watched the snow coming down, she pictured Mullah Fizullah twirling his beads, leaning in and whispering to her in his soft, tremulous voice, "But it is God who has planted them, Mariam Jo, and it is His will that you tend to them. It is His will, my girl. It is His will." The excerpt that I'm gonna read right here, right now, may be a spoiler for you who are gonna read the book. So I'd be leaving the part that'll give you something that you should not know before reading the book. So here it goes. Yeah. She thought of her entry into the world. A harami, a child of a lowly villager, an unintended thing, a pitiable, regrettable accident, a weed. And yet, she now was a woman who had loved and been loved back. She was a friend, a companion, a guardian, a mother, a person of consequence at last. No, it was not so bad, Mariam thought. Not so bad. This was a legitimate end to a life of illegitimate beginnings. This is going to be the last excerpt for this book, and it says, He has created the heavens and the earth with the truth. He makes the night cover the day and makes the day overtake the night. And he has made the sun and the moon subservient. Each one runs onto an assigned term. Now surely he is the mighty, the great forgiver. O my Lord, forgive and have mercy, for you are the best of the merciful ones. And that's the end of the book. There was one more thing, excerpt, not even excerpt, a line that Tariq says, Maryam, that I'd run to the ends of the world if it was to be with you. So yeah, it was something that I missed in between, but yeah, this is the book, and that's what I was talking about. It's an amazing read. I want you all, if you are interested in reading something like this, so please go for it. It's amazing. It's really amazing. So that's all for today's video. I'd say goodbye to you all, but before saying goodbye, I genuinely want you all to be happy, to feel abundant, and to notice little things in life that may seem mundane to you, but they hold impeccable capability to make you feel happy, and to make you feel grateful about all that you have. I hope that you all grow and evolve into the people that you want to become, and lots of love, and lots and lots and lots of love to you all. Bye.